Everybody, thanks for watching. Now, it's a lot of stuff we see on social media, a lot of stuff that we can talk about, debate about, a lot of stuff we see from the news media, to talk and debate about. As I talked about before, our society is based on competition. It's just that simple. Everything we do requires competition. You have to basically compete in school, for the best grades. You have to then compete for, a job. You have to compete for a promotion. You compete with your friends and family about, who's going to have the best house, the best car. We see competition in hip hop, best artists, best female vocalist, competition in entertainment industry, best supporting actor, best actor, what have you. Competition in sports. Everywhere we go is competition. It's a competitive society, and everything is truly based on that. Now, a lot of people just are naturally competitive. So, when we have a lot of these debates, a lot of people bring ego, because competition boosts ego, it brings ego. So a lot of the debates we have on social media, a lot of debates we have about what the media is putting out are basically, people who are acting off ego, people who are competitive and who want to be right and want to prove their point. They don't care what they got to do or say to do that. So, what we see being put out by mainstream media is the mental manipulation. You have people who are basically programmed. You have people who are programmed, and then you have conscious people. It's just that simple. Now, a lot of people who claim to be, conscious are, programmed. A lot of people who are trying to become conscious are programmed. And we have to understand that, it's the system, and I have seen the powers that be. I have seen a lot of their agendas, a lot of their plans come to fruition. None of them has been more successful than the mental manipulation of African American people. Manipulation from hip hop, manipulation from the entertainment industry, and now manipulation from social media. And social media has amplified, their power. So it's a self-inflicted attack, a self-inflicted mental manipulation. And you got to think about it. The cigarette industry, they just make cigarettes. That's what they do. Tobacco industry, they just make cigarettes. They can't make you smoke it. Plain and simple. So the best form of mental manipulation is the manipulation that you inflict on yourself because you believe it's you. And the thing is, we don't see the influence. A lot of people don't see the influence. They don't see the Jedi mind trick. A lot of people don't see the wave of the hand. They don't realize that they're just repeating something that they heard. They're doing something that they've seen. A lot of people don't realize that. And when people finally do pick up on it, they just think, it's just them. A lot of people don't realize that they're following what every single person is doing. A lot of people, when girls set up that camera to start twerking, it never occurs to them that I'm only doing this because I've seen other girls do it. It don't occur to a lot of people that they do things because they just seen it, that they're mimicking, they're copying. And a lot of people just say, well, it's the culture. Just going along with the culture, doing what everybody else is doing, not realize that you're doing what everybody else is doing. It's a Jedi mind trick. And a lot of people won't grasp it because they think it's them. It's the best form of mental manipulation. So you have millions of people basically end up dying from, tobacco-related diseases. So much so that the government had to step in and basically, forbid the tobacco company from advertising. But to do that, they had to first admit that advertising can cause a person to do something against their best interest, against their health. It's crazy. And they did that successfully. But you got to think about it. When you smoke cigarettes, you basically digging for cancer. You're digging for cancer. So you have, a certain amount of time before you hit pay dirt, before you reach cancer. You have a certain amount of time to quit before you reach what you're looking for or reach what you're going to end up getting. And if you quit before that time period, and cleanse yourself and live a healthy life, you'll be okay. But of course, most people will say, well, to avoid all this, just don't smoke at all. Just stop. Just quit. And you have to think about that a person can't quit because they're addicted. And addicted is a word to basically hide mental manipulation. Like, oh, it's an addiction, I have an addiction. You are being mentally manipulated. You don't understand that this drug is leaving itself, and that it's releasing, it's giving you little teases of dopamine to get you to remember that drug or remember that cigarette. So now you have been mentally stimulated, a little bit of dopamine has been released, and you're getting, the urge, we call it. And now you're going to go and, you're going to seek and find what you're urging for. This is addiction, but it begins and stems from mental manipulation, which eventually translates into your actions. And because you think it's you don't understand that you have just been manipulated. I can quit whenever I want. I can stop whenever I want. But you don't. You keep digging. So the government had to basically prove, that advertising is manipulation. They had to prove that, through ads, a person, again, could go against their best interests. And if you didn't read the long report put out after this whole judgment came down and basically said, no more advertising, then you wouldn't read the effects that advertising can have on the brain. Promotion. Talked about this stuff before. So no more Joe Camel, no more Cools. I mean, think about that, Cools. Come on. But they realize that as long as they can make a connection with the person, they got them. As long as you have an emotional connection with the TV ad, they have you. So if they give you an ad that shows a cartoon character or something happy or funny, of course funny, something that made you laugh, something that made you feel something heartfelt, they got you. And they give you the illusion that you have the choice to buy the product or not. But when you go shopping, what do? I seen that on TV. I gotta have it. Versus the brands that you have no clue what it is. When you balling and you got money, you go shopping and you see stuff. Well, I never seen that brand before. I know about Tide. I know about this brand. I want Skippy peanut butter. Peter Pan peanut butter. You know about these things because you've seen the ads. It's in your head. Now, our children prove this the most. There is no better proof than your child when you go shopping of mental manipulation. Because when you set your kid in front of the TV to shut them up, and you put all them cartoons on, and all those commercials came on, they're taking that in. Even more so than you. Because kids, they absorb a lot of information at that age. So then you take them shopping, and what they do? Ooh, 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 ooh. They're jumping up and down, singing the jingles, dancing, and pointing out all the toys and all of the products that they've seen on TV. And we just laugh, and people think it's cute, but they know what it is. You ain't teach it to your kid. Your kid just got programmed. And it's another form of advertising. Let's get the kids hooked on it. So when they go shopping, the constant bombardment of mom, please, can we have this? Can I have this? It's going to take effect. And, parent just wanting to do right for his kid. Here, okay, babe, you can have that. Okay, calm down, here you go. But it's advertising. It's mental stimulation. And they're controlling you this way. Now, a kid, they're not going to think about, this costs money. This is what this costs. But we understand, people who smoke cigarettes, that this is dangerous. It can cause cancer. It could kill you. But a lot of people, they don't let that register. But you have to understand, one, that the fact that the promotion was the cause for you to go ahead and buy the product tells you that advertising is mental stimulation, mental manipulation. Now think about it. When they first started advertising cigarettes, if they came right out and said, these are dangerous, do not smoke these, they will cause your death. If that's all the ads said, then what? What would people do? They would avoid it. Just like they avoid this symbol. If you see this symbol, poison, not to touch the stuff, not to drink the stuff. You're not going to look at a bottle of poison and just drink it because it's going to kill you unless you want to die. But it's going to immediately tell you that this is dangerous, this is harmful, avoid it. And this is what they didn't do with cigarettes. They put the commercials out there and they advertised, and a lot of people didn't realize what it was. The same thing with drugs. But when you advertise to people who don't have education on something that it's not harmful, then people will tend to follow. It's promotion. And then people had this notion, one, they were naive that, of course, the government wouldn't allow this if it was harmful or dangerous. So people went right ahead. And, this is the mind control, but it was stopped and they couldn't advertise no more. But the damage is already done. People are already addicted and still are addicted. Not to mention the fact that you still have the constant bombardment of the promotion of smoking in movies and TV shows where they can basically still advertise cigarettes. You see people pull out a cigarette all the time, a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. So they still basically low-key promoting smoking. So now you have to think about popularity. You can't be popular if nobody know who you are. Plain and simple. It's just how it was in high school. You were popular because a lot of people knew who you were. You did something. You was captain of the football team or basketball team, or you did something that stood out amongst a bunch of people and they spread the word. But basically, everybody knows who you are when you're popular. And that's why you're popular, because you're known. Coca-Cola is the most popular soft drink in the world. But Coca-Cola also advertises more than any other soft drink in the world. It is the most advertised drink on the planet, which is why it's so popular, because they advertise. You have to understand, the entertainment industry is advertising people and making them popular. Plain and simple. They are advertising people and making them popular to influence you about something. So now when you have a popular person, an entertainer or what have you, who has influence, now whatever is tied to this person is going to influence the people. It's going to also be popular amongst the people. This is what endorsements are all about, because they understand that this person has popularity, therefore having influence. So now they can use that influence to push a product. And this is why, celebrities and, sports athletes get paid millions of dollars to wear sneakers, to push a product, to show up at a club or a TV show or what have you. Popularity, it's influence. There to influence you about many things. You have to understand that this whole system, as I said, is built on competition. It's built on influence. One, to influence you to be competitive. And two, to influence you into doing something that's going to go towards the agenda of the person who is paying for the advertisement. The person who is pushing the agenda. So now that you understand this, once you understand, one, that entertainment is about influence. It's about influencing you. You have to think twice before you follow something that's coupled with entertainment, that's coupled with these people pushing a product or pushing a message, trying to influence you one way or the other. You got to think about this. You have to look back at the history and understand the definition of advertising, influence, promotion, mental manipulation, and how all this stuff goes hand in hand. And they tell you straight out, yeah, we're advertising to you. It's just a funny word to tell you that we're trying to, stimulate you mentally and basically influence your decision, your choices. So you are basically not given a choice. And with music, it's the worst, because music bypasses any choice that you may have had. Any slight chance you may have had of going left or right can be influenced by music if you lack knowledge. Plain and simple, because if you have knowledge of what's going on, then you can't be influenced either way. You truly are conscious. You can truly choose. You can truly do what you want to do freely, because you see the deception. You see what's going on. So when I say a lot of people are programmed, this is what I mean. They are following the programming. They are following the Jedi mind trick, repeating exactly what that person just said. Exactly what that person just did. Repeating. And, you have, some things that is good influence, bad influence, or what have you. There are gray areas, to keep it real. Somebody's trying to get you to buy, some oranges and some apples or what have you, or, something that's harmless. That's, those are those gray areas. But you got to understand that, a lot of the stuff that we see, I'm going to say 99% of the stuff we're bringing in is to influence us in some sort of negative way, believe it or not. And this is what I believe to be true based upon my research, because a lot of the stuff that we take in just absolutely have nothing to do with sustaining life and sustaining peace and sustaining what we are truly supposed to be doing with this existence. In my opinion, you're entitled to your own, of course, but you got to understand where advertising is, what the influence is all about, and what is it trying to push you towards. So now, just like you can make a person popular or famous with promotion, with advertising, keep promoting them, keep pumping them, keep pushing them out there, promote. And eventually, if you get around to enough people, you'll gain popularity. So just like a person can be promoted and gain popularity and now have influence, you can also do the same thing with a topic. So if you have the constant promotion, the constant advertising of a topic, it becomes popular. People begin talking about it, spreading it. It gains traction and people run with it. And this is what we're seeing from the news media. There is no bigger form of promotion and advertisement than the news media itself. Bigger than entertainment, because entertainers, celebrities, are pushed by the media, by the news media. The news comes on 2-3 times a day. Depends on what channel you watch, on almost most of the channels. But they'll still break into regularly scheduled programs to promote news or to push the news. News is what we see up and down the timeline. We have the newspapers, we have magazine articles. The news is promoted more than anything when you really pay attention, plain and simple. So if you have this huge pusher of information, this huge organization that makes things popular and get it out to the masses of people of the world, for that matter, they have to be very careful what they say and what they do, and they have not. Now, some of you may agree with what I'm saying, some of you may not, but we have to agree that the news media is popular, that they have influence. So you have to think about why would you push certain things knowing that you have this kind of influence on the people. You have to understand how careless it is for them to do and say certain things on TV knowing the kind of backlash it's going to bring. So they have been pumping and pushing racism in this country for years now. It has been crazy. It has been irresponsible on their part, understanding the power and influence they have on the people. So when I say 1 minute we chilling, everything cool, everything is fine, and then what happens? We get influenced. The media, cop shoots black kid. Black kid did something in the 6th grade, so deserved to be shot, basically. It's an influence. It sets off triggers in a lot of people. And we have been, for decades, we have had our image destroyed by the media, by TV shows, by corporations and companies, destroying the image of black people for decades, influencing people to have negative stereotypes about black people. Influence. We have been seeing it, constantly bombarding social media, constantly bombarding, the news or what have you, and it's influencing people greatly. So, it's one of those things where we understand what the Constitution talks about, and they can hide behind, freedom of press, freedom of speech. But when you look and see that we can trace the ownership of all the news media back to these major corporations who do not have the best interest of African American people at heart. These same people own stock in private prisons and have a stake in African Americans being arrested and treated unfairly. They have a stake in racism. They have a stake in cops racially profiling people. How can we allow these people to own the vehicle that influenced the world, that influenced the entire nation against black people? You have to think about that. You have to think about how all this stuff is connected and how we can prove it. It's crazy. They have the influence, they have the power, they have the control. So when you go back and understand, as I said before, Metu manipulation. So to the point where you go against your best interest. Not only that, you think something is true or something is real that is not. Influence. And this is the power that they have. Now, we have had decades, we have had years of hearing the negative stereotypes about African American people, so much so to the point where you have African American people repeating it, believing it. You know, we can only go against the programming but so long, but if you're not conscious, people are being controlled. They are being manipulated. The Jedi mind trick is finally getting them to repeat exactly what has been said. Never what I have ever thought. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. I never would have thought I would see black people say some of the shit that I read in this post that I'm about to explain to you. Never. It was so alarming to me. But me being conscious, understanding that this will eventually happen. I just didn't think it would happen at a time like this when we have been seeing so much against black people in the media. But it fits. But I never thought I would see black people say the stuff that they were saying about this particular case. And it just goes to show the mental manipulation of African American people and the people who have been influenced. And, you know, you don't know if it's to the point where they just gave up, they can't take it no more. Or is it to the fact that, you know, it's mental manipulation. But when you give up, that's something that's mental to me. That's programming. I'm not trying to make an excuse for these people. But their comments and the way people felt about this particular subject was outrageous to me. It may be outrageous to you. So now, what I'm talking about is an article resurfaced. A lot of you probably seen it. A lot of you probably came up with the opinion that I'm completely against. And I understand why, of course. But the article surfaced about, you know, a young boy, 17 years old, who basically went a few blocks from his neighborhood, from his house, broke into this woman's house. Now, she had an alarm system. She had video cameras. So she can see that this dude was in her house. She called the police. The police was on the way. Told her basically not to go home. She was not home. She went home knowing that she had a gun. She had a gun, likes to carry her gun. She went home, waited in the back for this dude to come out the house. And, you know, when he came out, there was supposedly a confrontation. One shot was fired. She killed him. Now, to some of you, you might be thinking, well, that's what he get. Shouldn't have been in her house. I can't stand the thief. But then you have to really think about the circumstances surrounding the case. You have to look deeply, look closer. Now, don't get me wrong. If he would have came into that woman's house, and keep in mind, when he came out the house, you know, he had no weapon. There was no items of hers found on his person when he came out. And, you know, he was supposed to have been fleeing and shot and killed. But you have to keep in mind the facts. One, that she came back to the house with a gun. He could have had a gun. Or he could have not been alone. Somebody could have been watching that she couldn't see off camera that had a gun and ambushed her or what have you. He could have got off a shot first and killed her. Now, the woman's home has been broken into before. And being a person who has had, you know, stuff stolen. I had a recording studio, somebody broke in there and stole everything. You know, that was resolved though. But I understand the frustration, you know. I remember I was growing up, I was in a fucking abandoned house. I was living in an abandoned house. And I had finally got it to the point to where, you know, I hustled so hard and I scraped up some money to where I managed to make the place look presentable. I was running an extension cord from the pole out in the backyard. You know, I was always smart, but I ran an extension cord from the pole in the backyard. But, you know, Smoker Boy told me how to do it. But ran it from the light pole into the house, and I had electricity. And, you know, I was trying to make a home for myself, or what I thought a home should be. And I managed to get it to a point to where I felt like this is my home. You know, I have a place, even though it was a rundown house. And some people broke in there, stole my shit. And I remember how I felt after that, like, damn. You know, I was pissed. Not to the point to where I would kill somebody though. Because you can't replace a life. Material stuff you can replace, which I was able to do. You know, so in my opinion, with this case, why? You know, the woman was in no danger. She was in no danger at all. She was away from the situation. I understand you being upset, but to go and take a life, 17-year-old boy, to kill him because of material possessions, to me, is just crazy. And the woman was looked at, the whole case was looked at suspect, of course, because, you know, he came out with nothing, he had nothing, she was told to stay away. She came back to the scene, put herself in danger with a firearm, and this, you know, the young man ended up being killed. And I understand, again, how some people may feel. He got what he deserved. He shouldn't have been in that house. But when you understand what is taking place in the black community and what's going on, then you get it. It doesn't justify him breaking into her house at all. But is it worth his life? Is his life worth material possessions? And this is what I was reading in the comments. Everybody, it was unanimous in the comment section. You know, you had your racist white people there, fucking nigger, that's what you get. That's all you people do is steal. And you had almost every black person in agreement. If you broke into my house, I would do the same thing. And in a lot of cases, I don't think people looked at the entire video or understood the circumstances of the case. I think a lot of people felt like the woman was in the house when he came in there and she shot him, which wasn't the case. She was away from the scene, came back to the scene, and killed this dude, where she could have just left it alone. The cops was on the way. The dude lived up the street. She had it on video. He was caught. He was caught. The cops came immediately after the shot rang off and tried to revive him. He died on the way to the hospital. You know, and his family came down, and, you know, he had some cousins of his on video saying some stupid shit like, how was he supposed to get his new sneakers? And they made sure they put the most ignorant comments out there to make people understand that, you know, this is what black people do to get there. So you better be careful and watch out, because they'll break into your house and steal your shit because they're trying to get school clothes and sneakers. You know, it's Metu manipulation. They put the most ghettoest people out there, and the whole video, the whole clip was just like, damn. Which, if you're conscious, you can see right through it and understand what's going on, what's taking place. You know, people, of course, entitled to their own opinion. People who have been in that situation going to feel some type of way. But to me, the fact that you had so many black people, after everything we've been seeing, so quick to condemn a 17-year-old young black man to death over their Xbox or PlayStation or TV. So you had basically so many people saying that a black life is worthless. A black life is not worth a gold chain. A black life is not worth a big screen TV or a PlayStation or what have you. That we are worthless. And this is the message that you had thousands of black people put out. I was the only person that I seen that commented against everybody else. The only person. I think I got 2 likes and a bunch of negative comments after that, to the point where, you know, it was just like, it's not even worth it, you know, just brainwashing. Because I wanted to ask one question. Do you think that a black life is not worth a material possession? And I actually had black people say, a black life ain't worth my possessions. Mental manipulation. And I'm like, damn. And, you know, it's crazy to me how the circle has come. How they have done exactly what I said they were trying to do. Turn you into them. Steal who you are and turn you into them.